My name is Holmes, and I have been in the care industry 40 years come the 29th of September this year. Two young children is very hard to work full time, and somebody suggested to me, what about, as it was described then, to be look about doing home help. So I explored all the ins and outs of being a home help and talked to my husband, talked to my mother who agreed to look after the children. And in those days, it was just a matter of ringing up the social care workers in the building called up in Ivybrook here in Domiciliary Complex and saying to them who you were and you're interested in doing home help. So I done that on Thursday the 27th of September, and on Friday morning the 28th of September the gentleman that I spoke to came out to my house and done the interview. Now the interview consisted of asking me my name, address, availability type of thing, and did I know what it was all about. That was it. He left and said he'd be in touch with me, and that evening at 4:30 I was contacted and said, we have a case for you starting Saturday the 29th of September, 4 times a day, 7 days a week. I was advised what he needed, and that was it. I was sent off to the house to make my own way, to get myself sorted, find out what was needed. And I have to say, it was a learning experience. There was no training given. There was no indication that he needed medication. I had to find that all out for myself. Now there was district nurse input, and believe it or not, the district nurses, they were carrying out the personal care element of the service at that stage. And from that, I have to say, it had snowballed. And I then made my way to various other cases and that, and as the years progressed, then they thought we had better introduce some kind of training. So the first manual handling training that I was sent to, it's not like today where you go for so many hours and that's it. I had to go 3 half days. I had to do assignments for the next day, on the next day that it was at the course. And at the end, on the last day, I had a sitting exam. So, it's such a change nowadays. Then they decided that we would need to do some sort of training about how to manage, how to cook, how to wash a floor, how to make beds. So they devised this 10-week course, and of course we were sent to it 2 hours every week, and it lasted 10 weeks. And basically that's what it was. We were instructed how to cook, we were instructed how to wash a floor, other things which, now when I look back at it are so ridiculous, but they felt they were training us. So we fast forward on, and I look at all the training that's in place now and all the changes that has taken place in the past 40 years. One of the biggest changes that I experienced was the switch over from having your own clientele, your own wee set of clients that you went to possibly 7 days a week, 4 times a day. And in 2001, when they changed over to doing rotas, it was a massive change for everybody to take on board. But with hindsight, it was the best thing that ever happened. When you had your clients 7 days a week, the only time that you got to yourself was if you were off, sadly, on sick leave, or you were on holidays. But with rotas now, you have the built-in time off, etc. And that in itself was a bonus. Highlights the training. Again, I think the highlights of the training, how much it has changed. Medication. When I started out, you were handed a tin box and you had to sit down and actually read what the service user was to get morning, lunch, tea and bed. And that again was a big thing, because you had to make sure that you were giving them the right medication. Now we have blister packs, we have medication instruction sheets, we have a lot of input from district nurses, but above all, the medication training that's arranged through the trust at the minute is unbelievable. It is a great support and a great backup for the girls, and we're not going blind like I was for a number of years with a tin box of medication. I have to say, I have met an awful lot of service users and their families. I don't know how many miles in those 40 years that I have covered. I have no idea of how many houses I would have visited, because for me, I was available and I would have worked the length and breadth of Newry and Mourne. So that entailed possibly driving out to the length of Annalong, and equally on the other side, that would have been going right to the border outside Crossmaglen. So yes, I have travelled a lot of miles, visited a lot of houses, but in those years, I have made a lot of friends. I still meet family members who I will hold my hand up and say, I recognise their faces, but to be honest, sometimes can't remember how I would know them, but they talk and then I remember where I have met them. Some of those family members have become very, very dear friends, and still would meet up and, you know, talk over old times. I have met a lot of girls care workers in that length of time as well. Sadly, I have to say, a number of them have passed away in service, and that was very hard to countenance as well and to cope with. But we got there, and we, at their funerals and that, we did pay our respects, and we had guards of honour for them and that, to show the family how much we treasured them. Service users, the families, you know, appreciate what we are doing for them and the service we provide, in so much that a number of service users, when they have passed, they'd have asked me to take part in the services, either in the mass or the church service, do a reading or do tributes, and that in itself, it showed me the measure of the esteem that they held me in and how I felt about them. What the way forward is for us in the next number of years, we do know that there are a lot of changes ahead, and we just will have to sit down and work through them and embrace them and see that they are implemented in the way they should be, and recognise that they are for the betterment of the staff and our service user alike. It is, as I said, going to be big changes, but believe you me, I have met a lot of changes in the past 40 years, and I'm still here, so I hope that you will still be here to embrace those changes and work your way through with them. Thank you.